Yo, 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 what is going on, RoK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are going to be touching on a kind of continued topic that we've been covering for a little while now, except diving into more specifically about how you can approach individuals in game to hopefully de-escalate situations that can have very wide-spreading impacts. And this also kind of comes into our, realistic expectation series for new players and just generally for pretty much every player when you're in RoK and just playing in Kingdom. So before we get started, as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell. And of course, if you want to join and be a part of our conversation, hit up the Discord. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description down below. Also, I should be noting that I'm actually going to start doing polls on my Discord specifically for Rise of Kingdom players. So in our Rise of Kingdoms or RoK section, there's a reaction there. And I'm going to start running polls and then making videos on those polls and even reading some of the feedback responses that we get as well, so highlighting some of the players. I think there's a lot of really cool things that we can do that can really show off some of these kind of I don't know if unfortunate might be the best word, but just paths that the game has gone down and has trended in, which have not been the most, I don't want to say efficient or effective, but the most helpful or beneficial towards the game's longevity and just general direction that it has gone in since inception. Okay. With that all being said, today what we're going to touch on is how you as a player can be more in control of yourself and things to really look at and not just take for granted. I will give you the biggest elephant in the room right now, which I can guarantee you many of you do. And this is more specifically for the vets out there, people that have just been playing for a little while, right? This one doesn't really count for if you're a brand new player. But let's say something's happening on the map. And let's just go in anywhere just so I can find some, potentially some cities. Okay, so here's a city here, not obviously in an alliance. You know what? Here, let me do this. Let's just go to Zone 3. This will be a million times easier if I do it here. Okay, so I'll give you guys an example. Okay, so here is a city. Unfortunately, not in a alliance. You would think people would be near center. Oh no, I think they're in KVK. So, but for example purposes, let's just say that wherever a city might be, let's see here. I'm sure I can find one in a moment. Okay, cool. So here's two cities. Great example. So let's say we have one city here. You got a city here. Let's say that you have this player who attacks this player, or maybe attacks an open field march, or maybe sets a rally but nothing happens. What I often see is that from a portion of players, for the amount of kingdoms I've played in and have observed, is that there is just a aggressive way that typically responses are done from players that specifically are not kind of cool, calm, and collected, right? That cool as a cucumber. And being able to discern and make appropriate decisions based on said assessments. An example of this would be, right, or a potential reason why maybe player A here, regardless of level, just hasn't been playing that long. Maybe they don't know really what they're doing. So they're going out and attacking, thinking, oh, cool, I'm just going to test this out, right? I'm just going to go and attack this player in this open field. Maybe I'll just go hit this city, just see what happens. That is completely plausible. And for a good amount of new players, that is how it could be. Now, you as a vet, or you as someone who's been playing for a long time, might think to yourself, man, this is kind of a stupid move. Like, why would this person be doing that? This doesn't make any sense. Is this person trying to die? So what I would caution is to be proactive and to not have an impulsive reaction to just go and, light fire to the face of the earth. Instead, you know what? Next time, click on the person's profile, right? It doesn't take me into the city here, right? Click on the person's profile, click on their avatar picture, and you know what? Maybe send them a live chat. Maybe send them a mail. A mail might be a little bit long, it would be too formal, but send them a chat. Send them a DM. And just say, hey, saw you attack, or I saw you do something. Are you newer to the game, or just want to let you know, maybe they're breaking the rules of the kingdom, for example. And instead of just assuming that they are the spawn of Satan, whoever it may be, right? They are just the scourge of the earth. Maybe just try reaching out to them. Maybe try sending a message and just trying to find out where their stance is at, right? Like, where is their head at and what they're doing. Because it may not always be with ill intentions. And I think that's really what I want to hammer home in this video, is that when you are, it is so easy for us to make assumptions, and I cannot tell you how many times I see those assumptions made in-game for situations that occur where people just don't stop to think and ask first, right? It's shoot first, ask questions later most of the time, at least from my experience in kingdoms I've been in. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you seen and noticed that a lot, or at all, in any kingdoms that you've played in, where people are just so quick to judge or so quick to make an assumption instead of going and asking, right? Reaching out to a player and trying to actually help that player with good intentions, right? Whether you're going out and you are sending them a message to try and find out, like, hey, is this person really doing this in an ill-intended way? Okay, cool, but then we'll take next steps and address it as a kingdom. Or do they just not know? And because you reached out, they appreciated that. And then you were able to inform them and give them some good information. So now they could be contributing and participating and therefore engaging in that kingdom in a more efficient way. And that allows for you to then keep players, right? Thereby retaining players, so they're not leaving, but they're staying. It keeps your activity higher, which means that then your conversion ratio from home kingdom to KVK can be greater, right? And more consistent throughout. That is what the hope is for us to not assume that someone's doing something in an ill-intended way, but rather try to confirm, are they actually doing it in an ill-intended way, or do they just not know, right? And so what I would like to see more kingdoms doing and adopting is not a shoot first, ask questions later, but a benefit of the doubt policy, right? And you know what's crazy is that takes effort. It takes real care. You have to actually want to do that. And what most kingdoms don't realize is those are the things, all those little things, is what actually factors into making your kingdom great. Is to what factors into the players wanting to stay there, wanting to talk about your kingdom, wanting to promote your kingdom, wanting to share how awesome the kingdom is, because you're a kingdom that cares enough to then take that extra step to reach out to a player, to DM them, to really try and help them get engaged. It could be from something that happens. It could be from a player that isn't in an alliance, but you notice that they're active, and you reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed that you're not active, or you're not in an alliance right now. Are you interested in joining an alliance? If so, here's a few alliances that we think would be a good fit, right? Just depending on your activity. And then you would just briefly define, what the different levels of activity are and kind of how that works in each of those alliances. These are just examples of how you can go about creating a more engaging community within your kingdom by not just assuming first, right? But asking first. Right? Do your, what we like to refer to as due diligence, right? Which means that you're leaving no stone unturned. You're not just making an assumption, but you're really trying to confirm, hey, is this person, does this player have ill intentions? Does this group have ill intentions? Or do they have good intentions, but they just don't know, right? It's like that saying, what you don't know, what you don't know. So passionate. So passionate. It's just, man, I see this happen so many times in kingdoms where people make assumptions, fights start, wars start because of this. I've seen civil wars start because of just misinterpretations or miscommunication. Thank you. And these are just things that are what I like to, again, they are controllable and they are avoidable. But you have to care enough for you wanting your kingdom to succeed and be successful and not just be something that you're in there for a month or two or a few months and you're like, okay, well, we tried. No, you have to actually put some work in, right? Don't just assume and think that it's going to come easy to you. You really have to understand that when you are someone in the game, whether you're a vet, you're someone who's only been playing a little bit, and I would hope that people would do this in every game, right? You should take the time to extend that hand out, right? And not just take the easy route. The easy route is to assume, right? The hard route that's actually going to pay you dividends is you reaching out to these players or these groups and trying to get information, right? Be a mediator to an extent, if you will, right? But try to find out the truth instead of just, again, saying, well, it looks like this, so it must be this, right? And more often than not, from my experience, again, that's usually not the case. So, again, my advice, my recommendation to those of you is extend that hand out. And trust me when I say if you start doing that, you're going to notice a shift in the atmosphere, the environment in the kingdom, more people being more positive in kingdom chat, possibly more people joining the Discord, more people just having nicer things to say. You'll find that you'll have less problems and situations that you're going to have to deal with, right? Because people are going to feel better. They'll be more informed. And that's really what it takes. It's not just about sending announcements or King's Mails or Discord announcements or Alliance announcements, right? Oftentimes, it's about being customer service. It's about being tech support. And really engaging with the individuals in your kingdom. And sometimes you might have to reach out to 100, 200, 500 players individually. These are things I do in kingdoms that I manage, right? Whether I'm doing a jump project or I'm already in a kingdom and I am kind of acting as this R6 type role, these are things I do. And people that have been in my projects understand the importance of doing these because that's really how you build a sustainable community, an engaging community. So much fiery passion today. But with that being said, I think that's it for me today. I'm gonna give you my last question, right, to you is let me know in the comments below. Are you connecting with what I'm saying? Is it making sense? Have you been in a situation or in a kingdom before where you've done this and you've noticed that return on investment? Or if you've been in a kingdom, have you seen a situation play out where someone didn't take the opportunity to reach out to someone to find the truth and they just made an assumption? And if so, tell me what happened. Because this video, hopefully when people read comments and you share your stories, you share your experiences, it'll hopefully be a warning to those that we can be better, we can do better. And these all factor into kingdom health, right? Longevity, sustainability, how to appropriately manage a kingdom, right? But it starts with the small things, right? The small pieces that build up, right? The smaller cogs that build up to the overall machine. All right, I'm finally done. I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, until next time.